Welcome back to another episode of the Clinch Review. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Anthony Joshua back in action at the legendary 0-2 against late replacement Robert Helenius, who stepped in for Dylan White. Joshua's coming off of a comeback fight against Jermaine Franklin, and Helenius coming off of a one-fight knockout win, one fight removed from his spectacular loss to Deontay Wilder via knockout. The fight had a couple of interesting subplots. First, obviously, Anthony Joshua was looking to put on a better performance than his last. Then also you had Derek James, who's a couple weeks removed from being on the losing end of one of the best fights in 20 years. So those just a couple things to keep mind of. Joshua got the job done in the seventh, which is what you want, but I do want to make a couple points. First things, I thought I would see the class difference much sooner than I did. I don't have a problem with the fight going rounds, but particularly you see one fighter who's thought to be the better fighter kind of taking the fight as the rounds go by. But that wasn't the case in this fight. It was very competitive up into the seventh. Helenius even managing to do some damage to Joshua's face. And overall, Joshua just seemed disinterested. One thing that stood out to me at the weigh-in was, Joshua asking Helenius, "Are you okay?" Pretty much like, "Why are you looking at me like that?" Which is strange, right? It's a weigh-in, it's a face-off. That's what you do there. But to me, that said Joshua was distracted by other things, right? Instead of the fight itself, he was taken off his game by the way Helenius was looking, whatever. It's been a rough couple of years for Joshua, particularly the Usyk fight. I think it took a lot out of him, especially mentally. Losing the first time, then vowing to be much better, and just taking it very personally, being very serious about it. And still coming up short. I think that took a lot out of Joshua, more so mentally rather than physically. In regards to the fight, I do think the dimensions bothered Joshua quite a bit. He seemed very non-committal, only pretty much throwing a jab. Derrick James was even telling him about it. You got to commit to it. You got to double it up. You got to blind them. And really, that was, the times that Helenius was able to have some success jabbing here and there. Joshua wasn't willing to throw anything really until he got more confidence. That gave Joshua a lot of trouble, until the seventh round when he closed the show. It would have been interesting to see if the fight had gone longer, how the scorecards were. It was, not a lot to separate either fighter from each other. The commentators also kind of noticed and spoke to Joshua not seeming like himself. They talked about how it wasn't really any bounce in his step. Even Tony Bellew said, if he fights the way he's fighting now, which was in the first couple rounds, he said it would not go along with Deontay Wilder. And I completely agree. Afterwards, Joshua and Eddie Hearn were talked about, is Deontay Wilder the plan? And they both said yes. And then based on Joshua's performance tonight, as well as his past performances, that fight would not go well for Joshua at all. And it's not necessarily because of the skills, it's just the dimensions. Joshua was a very compact, very stocky fighter. Deontay is very tall and springy. Knows how to use his jab. For all his deficiencies, he does have a good jab, and he's pretty educated with it. But all in all, it was a very interesting performance from Joshua. He got the win, but there was something that seemed a little bit off, for the second fight now. Again, like I said, it's not necessarily that it went the rounds and he didn't, get him out of it. It's the way he looked in the rounds. But, we'll see. We'll see what's next for him. We'll see how he looks in this next fight. Looking forward to him being more active, as well as Deontay Wilder. Hopefully that fight does get made. It's going to be very exciting. But let me know what you thought about the fight. Do you think Anthony Joshua looked off? What do you think about his performance against Robert Helenius? As always, appreciate you for watching. See you on the next one. Peace.